Yes, these are dirty dishes. You guessed it. So for now I picked Saturday evening as the day, as the time of these videos to show up. So story time. True stories. Whatever you call it. So yeah, today I'm gonna talk about Polish countryside, I guess. Because I will tell you how I spent summer vacations, sometimes also winter breaks, on Polish countryside. In very similar parts of Poland, but every countryside that I've been, every village is very different. And especially for this topic, I am a tree. It was a coincidence, to be quite honest. So you should know that pretty much all of my family comes from the countryside of Poland, and my parents came to Łódź for work and they just stayed there. But they both come from the Mazovian countryside, but on different ends of the Mazovian voivodeship. So my dad's side is closer to the Kujawian-Pomeranian, Kujawsko-Pomorskie, and my mom's side is closer to Ostrołęka and definitely on the side of Mazury, Mazurian, whatever. So even though they are not very distant from one another, even the dialect is a bit different. So, and there were many factors that made the experience different. I think I will start on my dad's side, because there I used to spend every summer vacation for 2 or 3 weeks. And a very important thing about this side of the countryside for me personally was that I didn't really have any peers. I didn't really have any friends there, so I was just kind of on my own. I was only spending time with my family, maybe with my brother too, but he's 4 years older than me, so there wasn't always anything to do with him. Like when I was very little, he didn't want to play with me, you know, this kind of stuff. So I was just I guess alone with my imagination, with my thoughts. So I remember thinking about a lot of stuff there. The surroundings were very inspiring to think about just anything. And I was always a very conscious kid, so even if I was like 8 or even younger, I had something going on here. And I just thought it through when I was there, mostly with a cat on my knees, because there were a lot of cats, always a lot of cats, and I think the record of dogs is 3, maybe 4, but I think the number of cats, once it was like 12 or something. It's not even legal to have this many cats, but no one can count it in a village, because the cats are just all over the place. So there are 12, but you only see like 2 at the same time, right? So when I was very little, like 5 or 6, I remember playing in sand all the time. My aunt still makes fun of me that I was just obsessed with sand, because it wasn't even a sandbox. It was just a pile of sand. It's not there anymore, because it was like remains from renovation construction thing, because they were building a house and this kind of stuff. So I would just sit and just do random stuff in the sand. I remember exactly how when I saw my grandma feeding the pigs, and I just made pig food out of sand and water, and I just played like, you know, feeding my own pigs or whatever. It was just so random. And when it comes to farm animals, there were 2 cows, and I also remember that there was a horse, more specifically a mare. Her name was Kaśka. Yeah, it's like Catherine, like Katie, Kate, just anything of Catherine. I remember her very well, but I think she was sold when I was 11 or something. so maybe 10 even, so it was a long time ago. But I even remember riding her. I think once or twice my grandpa would just put his jacket on the horse because they didn't have a saddle. It wasn't a horse for mounting and for, you know, riding, but more for pulling a cart. So at the point when they bought a tractor, they didn't need the horse anymore. And I remember feeding her and riding her and just wow. But that was a long time ago, and so much stuff happened after that. That is really ancient history when they really had a horse. So when I was a kid, there were pigs, cows, and I think there was a bull, probably. So I had a lot of contact with farm animals and just pets in general. And I think there I just I developed the feelings about animals that I have right now, because I interacted with many dogs and many cats, and I just I saw much personality in all of them. Maybe not all of them, but some of them definitely. And I really just started loving pets when I was there. Instead of having friends, I had pets, right? My brother used to climb the oldest tree in the garden. It's still there, and it's probably like 75 years old, I think, because my grandma is 81, and she remembers that she was a little kid when her dad was planting this tree. So it's probably about 75. It's really fascinating, and there are still apples on this tree. I once made a picture with my old camera, so it's not very good, but I made a collage, I guess, of this tree in every season. And it's not like there weren't any children in this village. It's just that my grandma's house was kind of not deeply in the village, because there is a big street that this house is next to. And when you wanted to go deeply in the village, you had to go a bit through this big street, which was very scary and not really recommended for me when I was like 10 or younger, right? Because there are trucks going by this street, and it's just rather dangerous. So you had to go through this street and then turn right to go deeply in the village, where people actually live. Yeah, so I remember meeting some kids, so they were there, but it was just not very safe for me to go deeply in the village and just play with them, right? And I think I also didn't want to, so yeah. And my aunts don't have children, so I had no cousins there, only my brother pretty much, and the pets. So because I didn't know any other children, I also spent a lot of time with my family, with my aunts, with my grandparents, mostly my grandma, because my grandpa was weird back then. Anyway, and aside of watching TV and talking and just doing random stuff, we also played cards. And mostly we played 1000. I don't know if that's the proper name in English for this game, but I just googled it and apparently it is. So yeah, so there was pretty much no other game than the 1000. And at first I was really bad at it because I was a kid and I couldn't even count, right? So yeah, but in time I got pretty good at this game, and I think I still am, and I know the rules by heart, and like I cannot remember the rules of many card games. 1000 is just buried deeply inside me. It's a part of me, okay? So I think that's also the reason why I am rather close with my dad's family, because with my mom's family, not really. I don't even go there anymore, because there I had other children. I had cousins, I had their cousins, and that weren't my cousins, you know what I mean? And other kids that I just hung out with all the time, and I didn't really care for the adults, right? So on my mom's side, there are two places that I went to, two aunts. So maybe let's start with the younger aunt that has a son that is my age and another son that is like 3 years younger than me. I used to go there up until I was 13 or 12 or something like that, so yeah, half of my life ago. And there was just so much to do there. But it was kind of a wild village, because right outside my aunt's yard, it wasn't really my aunt's yard, it was her mother-in-law's yard, whatever, there was just field. And also in this village, also in the village where my dad's sister lives, there was no sewage system. Yeah, you know, like the pipes for water remains, but I mean, there was water, but there was just nothing for pee and poop to go, you know, and also water from washing the dishes and just anything like goes inside the sink. And there they made it at some point very long ago, but on my mom's side in the village that I'm now talking about, I don't know when they did that. They probably did, but I just stopped going there. And they didn't even have a cesspit. We call it shambo, and it's like a bucket for inside the ground for all the water remains, right? They also made it at some point, but I remember that for the longest time there was just nothing. So it was very wild. I also remember that there was a road made of concrete, but then it just ended and there was just dirt. One of the main things that I remember was stealing corn from neighbors or whatever, because there were huge fields of corn there. So me and my cousin would just go to the field and just grab corn and just eat raw corn. That wasn't probably very healthy. Maybe it was. I have no idea. And there I had many peers to hang out with, because my cousin's dad, that wasn't my family really, like he wasn't a blood relative, had a sister that had like 7 children. So my cousin's cousins were also people that I hung out with a lot. And they lived in the same village, a few houses away, and they were all girls. I think only the 8th kid was a boy in this family. That was really weird. But there were plenty of girls in any age. Just name the age, and there's a girl this age in this family. From my activities, aside of stealing corn, I also remember playing soccer, and mostly because my brother also had his peers and his friends there, and just pretty much only boys played soccer, but I was stubborn to play with them, but I was so bad at it, and once I fell straight into shit, so not with my face, but like with my back or something, and I was just full of shit. And I think that was the last time when I played soccer, probably. Yeah. And we played Pokemon, we played Dragon Ball, we played everything. We even listened to music or just went on walks. And I also remember one of the most extreme things. Well, I will tell you about the most extreme thing, but the second extreme thing was there was a barn. I mean, there was a cow shed and pig shed, and you know, did they have pigs? They probably did, but there I didn't really see the animals that much. Of course, dogs and cats and stuff, but the farm animals, I didn't really interact with them, so I'm not sure what kind of farm animals they even had. Definitely chickens, because I remember little chickens, just tiny yellow little ones, and also little ducks, baby ducks. Oh my god, so cute. But yeah, but there were sheds for animals, and there was also a barn for keeping tools and wheat and hay. So yeah, so there was this huge pile of I think it was wheat and hay mixed, because no one would collect a pile of hay this big. It was like 8 meters or something. It was like a few floors. So it was probably just a big pile of wheat, of like the squares. I have no idea what it's called. I have very short vocabulary when it comes to any kind of farm things. So yeah, so there was this huge pile of wheat, and it was covered with hay. At least I think so. So we would just go up, either on the wheat squares. I need to check what it's called, because I can't keep saying wheat squares, right? Snopek. There isn't a word like that. Okay then. Is it like wheat cubes or something? It's more like cubes, it's not squares. So we would just climb the pile like by stairs, just on the cubes, right? Or there was also a ladder. So we would go up and just slide down the few floors of height that it was. So it was so fun, but now that I think about it, I am terrified. I would never do that now. My god. That was before I was scared of heights, because I got the fear of heights at some point of my life, probably somewhere when I was becoming a teenager. So back then I didn't have it. I wasn't scared, and it was so fun, even though it was so dangerous. My god. But the most extreme thing I did there was I need to check a word again. You can see now that my vocabulary is really bad, especially when you find out what kind of word I don't know right now. Zapałka. Zapałki? Zapałka. Matches? Wait a minute. These are matches? Anyway, we really liked to play with them, and it wasn't a good idea. I even remember, because sometimes, because the distance between one village and the other village wasn't really that big, my parents sometimes drove us from one to another straight, because it didn't really make much sense to go back to Łódź and then to the other village. So if one of my aunts sees this video, because one of my aunts watched me, my dad's sister, if there are ever subtitles to this video and she finds out what I'm talking about, it's gonna be really bad. I mean, not really bad, because I was like 11, okay? There was this special room for storage, like just a very small storage room for anything in jars, and also matches and like candles, just anything. And I remember stealing the matches from there, just like putting them in my pockets before we went to the other village, and I was like, hey, see what I got? That's so stupid. So we would just do plenty of stuff with the matches, like burning paper, or just some kind of tricks or whatever. There was a thing that they called a tree house, even though it wasn't really a tree house. It was just like wooden columns, like 4 columns, and there was a floor on them made of wood, like probably wood remains that weren't needed or something, and on top of it there was a bed, like a folding bed. I can't remember what it's called. So like an old one, you know. And so we used to go up there. There wasn't even a ladder. We had to like climb up there, even though it was kind of high. It was probably as tall as I am, or even taller, so it wasn't really that easy to even get up there. And we would just sit there and hang out and stuff. And I was with my younger cousin, the one that is 3 years younger than me, and we would play with matches, and one of the matches slipped and the bed caught fire. And it was just like a real fire, you know. We jumped off the thing and we just ran straight to the house to get just any water possible to extinguish it. But the fire was just so fast that the bed, almost all of the bed, burned. Yeah, and when my aunt saw it, I will never forget this moment. I was 11 years old and my aunt was just a firefighter. She got a water hose and she just, you know, started extinguishing the thing. But and she made it, but it was also so dangerous because the tree house was very close to the actual house, and it was the summer and it was very dry, no rain whatsoever in a few days or something, and wow, we could have just burned the yard, the garden and the house, and my god. She was so furious at us. I don't think she ever told this to my mom, but my mom doesn't know what YouTube is, so I guess I'm fine. And I was 11, okay? And I will never forget that my aunt was just like, if you ever play with matches again. Hilarious, but also very scary. And I think we literally never played with matches again. That was a very important lesson. So what other things did I do? I remember also going on walks not very late in the evening, but after sunset. We would take my cousin and my brother and just anyone else on a walk, and I think at some point we always went the direction that the dirt road was beginning. It was like up the hill, and just we just went forward. And I remember that one time we even made it to the other village, and it was about the time when the movie about Children of the Corn or something was popular, and my brother would, because there was as I said, a lot of corn there, and my brother would just, because he was older, okay, he would just scare us about the children, that they would come and kill us or whatever. It would just come out the corn. And many years later I watched this movie and I was like, it's a comedy. We also had just any kind of role play things, and we used to drive each other on a I knew that word, god damn it, I know this word, barrow. I knew this word. Okay, yeah, we would drive each other by a barrow or just whatever. Stupid kids. And I just don't go there anymore because my aunt got divorced and she now lives in Silesia. So the third village, I think it was the place that I liked to go to the least. Eventually. There were also a lot of other children, again, my cousin's cousins, and they have a wood thing going on, a wood business or something. Tartak, how is Tartak? I know how is Tartak. Sawmill? No, I didn't know how is Tartak. Lumber mill? Lumber mill is something more familiar. Yeah, they had a lumber mill, and I remember jumping like through boards and stuff. It was weird, and I hit my knee, and yeah, I hurt myself a lot. And there was a game that I really liked because, you know, I love Dragon Ball, so we played Dragon Ball. We had some kind of like balls, like silver balls made of plastic, I don't know, like silver by color, okay? And we would hide them somewhere inside the house, not really in the yard, and we would draw on a piece of paper where the balls are. So one person hides the balls and draws the thing, and the other one needs to find the balls reading the map, right? It was like a radar, like they had radars in Dragon Ball. So I really liked this game because you had to really analyze things, and you had to, you know, like see which angle you need to look at the map and just find things. So I really liked this game, even though we didn't really play it that much. We got bored of it, I guess, very fast. And there were also walks and, you know, playing Pokemon, of course, because my cousin had even had Pokeballs. and like Pokemon figures and this kind of stuff. And also there were a lot of girls. The cousins were mostly girls again. So I also played with them, and they lived really close, so I hung out at their house as well. And we played just a bunch of stuff, and we hung out in like tents or whatever. And I also remember that there was a girl living, not really living, but they were building like an additional house because she was from Warsaw, and they were building a house next to my aunt's house. Not really literally next to, because there was a field, and there then there was the house. So, but it was still pretty close, and I could see if they were on the yard or something through the fence. So I hung out with her too. She was a bit crazy and rich. She was definitely rich because she had a baby born doll, and back then in Poland, if you had a baby born doll, you were really rich, okay? They were really expensive. And she was building an additional house, so yeah, I guess she was rich, or at least somewhat rich. Not like there's anything bad with being rich, but then I didn't really know many people who would be rich, or at least upper middle class even. So yeah, so that was exotic, I guess. And I remember hanging out a lot in the construction site, where they were building the house, also in sand again. I really like sand. I don't know, but I don't really remember much because I can't even remember when I was there the last time. That wasn't someone's wedding, or just some kind of family gathering, you know. But just for vacations, I think I was there when I was 10 the last time, probably very long ago. So I don't really remember that much from this experience. I remember that once a dog bit me really bad because I was trying to play what's this game called? Are You Serious Brain? When I just click record, I just, the words just fly out my head. Fetch! I didn't even have to I didn't even have to check. It just came to me. Fetch. Yes, I tried to play fetch with this dog, and even though he wasn't really aggressive, I don't know, he felt endangered or something because I tried to take the stick from him. So he just jumped on me, even though he was really small. It wasn't like a big dog, but he just jumped on me and bit me in the chest. So I didn't have boobs back then, so it was a big deal. And I remember that it really hurt. And there I didn't have any contact with farm animals, I guess. There were pigs. I remember that, yeah, I remember that pigs were born once I was there, and they were so little. And I remember being fascinated by how they are born and they immediately can walk. Yeah, oh my god, there were so many of them, like 12 or something. Yeah, but mostly I just hung out with people, definitely. And there was also the hay sliding thing. Yeah. Oh, I also remember in all the three places, I remember taking cows home. Is that how you can call that? Because mostly you just take cows outside your yard, just somewhere in the field, and you have to bring them back to your barn, right? So I remember taking walks with cows or whatever. Yeah, it was kind of fun. I really like cows. Did you know that about me? Probably not. I like cows, but I like them alive, not in my bun with some lettuce and tomato. No. So that's what you can do on the Polish countryside when you're a kid. Plenty of stuff. Stealing corn, causing fires, walking cows, walking your friends, walking your cousins, thinking, just anything. So yeah, this video is probably very long already, so even if I didn't say something, even if I forgot about something, I definitely did, then that's fine, because the video is gonna be very long anyway. So yeah, so that's gonna be it. So tell me if you like this new series of Tru Storyz, and just, you know, give me ideas. I already got an idea from one comment under the last video, so thanks, I guess. And something will definitely come to me at some point. There's gonna be another video in 2 weeks. I hope so, at least. Saturday nights with Marticore. Thank you very much for watching. Remember subscribing, comment if you like the video, and see you in the next one. Bye. Taczka, for God's sake. Folder? What? Not teczka, taczka, what the hell? Okay.